What's up, everybody? How's it going? Ryan here, back with you again on this fine week of February 19th, 2019, with the first episode of the week of The Morning Coffee. This is episode number 24, actually. And I hope you guys have or had a great weekend. We have some pretty cool articles to go over, but before we jump into that, as always, if it's your guys' first time here or you guys are returning, welcome back, guys. We do have this podcast on Spotify and iTunes. You can check out the links in the episode descriptions below if you want to go subscribe there. We are also on YouTube, which all those good information will be in the episode description below if you ever need to catch up on an episode or miss out on us. For anyone who is listening via YouTube or VODs or through audio, as always, you guys can follow me at twitch.tv/Ryan Kubo. That's RYANKUBO, all lowercase, no space in that. It is where we live stream and record the podcast every single time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So keep that in mind with pre-show, post-show, and all that good stuff as well. So come swing by if you ever want to talk or interact live. But yeah, sipping on some coffee from, I don't know, some generic Keurig brand today. Honestly, my go-to usually, I'm not a very big coffee connoisseur, so maybe we shouldn't have called this podcast The Morning Coffee, but I thought it fit pretty well for what we were talking about and stuff like that. Did use my Starbucks gift card and regret using it because coffee is way too expensive at Starbucks, and this is why I just make my own and stuff like that. But yeah, so sipping on that, talk about some pretty cool news articles. But let us begin. First article for the day: Razer closes its game store after 10 months. So yeah, it says Razer is learning the hard lesson about the challenge of launching game stores. The hardware giant is closing the Razer game store on February 28th at 4 a.m. Eastern as part of our realignment plans. It still honors pre-orders and notes that games will still work as long as you have their Steam or Uplay keys, but you won't have access to those keys once February is over. It's one of those things where, to be honest, I didn't even know that Razer had a game store. And what we mean by game store is this is not a physical brick and mortar type of store. This is a store like Epic Game Store or like Steam, etc., where it was a digital distribution store. So that kind of says something when Razer, a pretty big company within gaming paraphernalia, laptops, etc., their store is closing down. I had personally never heard of this store, like I just mentioned. I had no idea it existed, but apparently it kind of worked the same way as the Humble Bundle stores type of did, where you could buy games on there for a little bit cheaper possibly, but then you would get a key for, Steam or for any other various type of gaming sites and stuff like that. I guess it was like kind of like a DRM-free type of gaming key. So I just found this really interesting because I don't know if the marketing was very bad for this or what that might be. I'm not too 100% sure what this is. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it shut down after only 10 months, which is actually pretty crazy that it's even been around for that long. There's other stores that I feel like have... The thing with Razer is that you don't have to install the software. I have it on my computer, but I know people who have never installed the software. So yeah, and to go to a paraphernalia site when there's already, there's so many game stores that are already built into the programs that I personally use and probably many other people use each and every day. It's really, really hard to get into the game store market right now, right? Steam has been around forever. That's a thing. You even have Discord, which has been doing games that integrate with Discord. So it uses your Discord ID from there. They have a friends list integrated already, et cetera, et cetera. It's like right smack dab there and very easy to access as well. And then you also have, what just got announced, which is the Epic Games Store, which is Epic is the game company that made Fortnite. So they already have a lot of an install base because of people installing Fortnite. And now there is a game store that is on, there, and you can buy and purchase games through there with, in Epic enticing developers to come out there and stuff like that and to put their game on, one or the other platform or both, right? So rest in peace. Hopefully they, their realignment plans will do well and they could learn from this mistake. But yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, unfortunately, rest in peace, Razer. At least our game store. Next up, this is kind of just a review in progress. I don't usually like talking about these articles specifically, but Anthem review is in progress according to PC Gamer. They've noted a bunch of stuff. I don't really want to go over the actual article in itself. I just thought this would be a good backdrop or a good springboard to talk about my thoughts, my opinions on Anthem. When I did delve into the beta, as well as play a little bit of the early access of the game through some friends who let me try it out and stuff like that. So keep in mind, I'm about 30-40 minutes in. It doesn't really do it justice, but I just kind of wanted to use this as a springboard. If you guys don't know what Anthem is a pretty hyped up game that was talked about last E3 that BioWare is making, and it is very reminiscent, I guess you could say, of Destiny 1, Destiny 2 type of thing in a third-party combat type of feel. When it was first announced, the trailer was actually very well received, and I think a lot of people were pretty hyped about the game in general. I heard good things about it, but most of the things that I did hear from E3 that I personally didn't like, a lot of people were saying, no, Ryan, it's really, really good. You'll really, really like it. It's enjoyable. Just give it a chance and stuff like that. Most notably, in my opinion, was Fallout 76. If you guys were around back then, that was pre-podcast days, and those E3 streams kind of inspired the reason why I started doing this podcast and other podcasts in general on my channel. But if you were there for those, shout outs to you, by the way. We talked extensively about Fallout 76 during that stream, and I was maybe one other person kind of saw where I was coming from, but I was one of the only people who said this is going to be a bad game, just from the engine that it's built on, just from not giving us any information at all at the time. Anthem was kind of one of those games for me. The trailer looked amazing. It looked really cool in concept, but then when they kind of broke it down, it just reminded me of a Destiny or Destiny 2 type of game. Now, it's I think that the article header kind of hits this right on the head, and it really reminds me of kind of how I felt about playing Destiny 2. It says combat and exploration are fun, but nothing else is. So essentially, it's a loot shooter, right? It's a third-person shooter where you go around, you level a character. It has, very, not simplistic, but, easy to understand leveling system, talent guide, etc., etc. You go, you run around, you kill monsters, you do dungeons, loot drops from them, you grab said loot, you kind of rinse and repeat, right? Kind of think of it as an action RPG, but it's a third-person shooter. Kind of reminds me of Destiny. And with Destiny, I didn't have any problems with the game at first. It was a very solid game. It was very polished. I liked the feel of it coming from Bungie and that type of company. I did enjoy Halo and all that stuff like that. I think Halo is probably one of the games I put some of the most hours into of my childhood, from what I can recall. And so, yeah, it felt really good, but Anthem kind of feels like that. The beta that was out a couple of weeks ago at this point, which is an open beta, they put you in the middle of the story at a higher level, so it was hard to tell how the game really was. Playing at my friend's house, though, I agree. The combat is really good. The game runs, in my opinion, very smooth. I know some people have had huge issues with just frame rate, how the game has been running, etc., etc. Me, personally, I haven't had those issues, luckily, and so I'm blessed with that, at least. But I know that there's been a lot of people talking about it, and there's just these issues. I think that another thing was that load times for me were very, very bad. I did not enjoy how long it was taking to load some of this stuff up. It was pretty awful. It wasn't just how long it took to load, it was also the amount of loading there was, right? Walk through a door, load screen for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You're in a store, or in a cave, whatever it might be. You explore around, you have to leave. Another 10 to 20 seconds kind of takes you out of that immersion or that atmosphere or whatever. I know that some people are like, well, it's only 10 or 20 seconds, but that's a very long time of just kind of waiting there with this generic type of loading screen, especially since it was kind of an open beta, quote unquote, which in my opinion it's saying open beta and then saying the game launches in a week and a half to 2 weeks isn't really an open beta. I'm sorry, but it's just a marketing scheme so that they can get players to play it, test their servers probably mostly, and also to get people to stream it early on Twitch to get people talking about it and stuff. So loading for me was definitely an issue. One of the last issues that I saw about the game is I saw a lot of people complaining because there's like raids or story missions and stuff like that you can join with friends in kind of a quick match setting, and apparently that just kind of throws you into one as fast as possible, disregarding your storyline and stuff like that. And I believe that's a bug. I'm not 100% sure, but I've seen clips and watched a couple of streams where people are playing and some guy's like, whoa, this is crazy, what's happening? It's like, dude, this is the last mission of the game. Like, you should leave if you don't want this game to be spoiled. And it's like, the guy had barely started playing and stuff like that. And it was just kind of weird why a game would be developed to do something like that. Overall, though, I will say that I will continue to keep you guys updated on this. I have a couple of friends who are going to get the game. For me personally, I do not think I will be purchasing this game for myself after playing the beta and playing around, with my friend's character and stuff like that. But that's just personally me. I love these type of games. I know that people are pretty diehard about these type of games. They're just really fun games to like tune yourself out, just kind of chill, play, very stress-free in my opinion. But yeah, check out the article in the show notes for sure and read up on it yourself. Like I said, it's a review, so please try to form your own opinions if you can by either playing the game or looking at gameplay footage yourself. But I personally won't be getting it, but we will keep you guys updated on how Anthem is, because I guess this is kind of the first big game that is being released this year, right? And this is kind of the game that was the next Mass Effect game was kind of held off on, and they released this instead. So definitely we'll keep you updated on how this goes and where Anthem is seeing in the future. Next up, just a quick article. I thought this was really cool, but apparently a pristine Super Mario Brothers cartridge sold for over $100,000, which is pretty crazy, but that's the highest price ever paid for a single game. Apparently, the reason why is a foil sticker on the top of the black box that indicates it's among the very first run of 17 NES games produced in America. These were released in test markets across New York and LA between October 1985 and March 1986, when the NES came bundled with Duck Hunt and Gyromite. And due to its popularity, Mario Brothers would be reprinted in 11 different box variations from 1985 to 1994, according to Gaming Collectibles authenticators. And as production began to ramp up in 1986, Nintendo ditched the sticker seals and began shrink wrapping its games. This copy of Super Mario Brothers is now jointly owned by three buyers: Jim Halperin, the founder and co-chairman of Collectibles Auction Company, Heritage Auctions, game collector Rich Leese, and video game store owner Zach Giage. It marks a big leap over the previous record holder, another sealed copy of Super Mario that was sold on eBay for $30,000. Not only are NES stickered sealed games extremely rare, but by their nature of not being sealed in shrink wrap, they usually exhibit significant wear after more than 30 years. But yeah, they said that this game is like pretty good condition, and it got a 9.4. If you guys don't know, there is a thing with just rating collectibles, and I'm not an expert at this at all, but it's on a 1 to 10 type of scale, I believe. And 9.4 is pretty high. 10 would basically mean like it was just created that right then and there, and it is perfect. It's seen no wear and tear. And there's experts out there who will tell you like because of color fading, or because of this or that or whatever. So it looks pretty pristine, and it's just pretty crazy that this happened over the weekend. But yeah. Second to last article of the day. I know we talk about him a lot, and a lot of people on this podcast don't like him a lot. But game streamer Ninja is getting his own toy lineup. Yeah, so let's see here. But it says here that Ninja will get his own Twitch superstar Wicked Cool Toys lineup themed around the streamer. You'll find 2-inch collectibles in blind picks, $5 each, and 4-inch dancing figures, $10. Themed around his character and emotes, as well as headwear for $20. That gives you that blue hair and headband. All those should ship in the fall, and there are plans for plush toys, games, and other goodies. Other streamers will get a nod as well. They're launching an augmented reality enhanced set of 4 vinyl figurines, $100 each, that will use a QR code to unlock a virtual experience based on top streamers. Ninja is unsurprisingly part of the mix. He'll be joined also by well-known streamers Lyric, 71G, and Tim the Tapman. There's no release date for these collectibles, but WCT stressed that they'll be owned by and made for the streamers. Whether or not toys are a success is up to them, right? So this was something that has been teased and for a very, very long time. If you guys don't remember, this is, oh my gosh, this had to have been at least maybe 8 months ago at this point, but Ninja and Summit and like Tim and Lyric and all them had an account that I followed on Instagram that like kind of teased these type of toys, and they looked more like Funko Pops at the time. So maybe that's not the same thing, but kind of the same concept. But I guess it's been officially unveiled, and Ninja is officially showing off or talking about these toys now or whatever, and they've just been announced. But yeah, so collectibles and blind picks $5 each. So that what that means is that these toys will be the ones that you'll be able to get into a sealed silver bag, right, or some type of bag. You can feel it, but you can't see into it, right? You open it, you get one of these random figurines for you, which all of them are based off of Ninja's emotes. They will also have other ones that are going to be a little bit more expensive, which are going to be $10, which are danced figurine, or it says dancing figures themed around his characters and emotes. So there'll be other, I guess, significant emotes. You can buy them for $10 or whatever. It's probably the pon ones and stuff like that, where you can just buy it, boom, set it on your desk, and you own it. And the last thing, which I think is kind of weird, which I wouldn't get personally, which is headwear for $20, where apparently it says Ninja on it. You can put it on and be in blue hair. So yeah, I think that the article kind of summarizes it at the very end of this. Their existence says a lot about how much game streaming has grown, at least. While it's been a regular part of gaming scene for years, it's not large enough that it attracts celebrities, etc., etc. Simply speaking, there's a significant potential audience for these toys. It's just a question of whether it's significant enough to support a toy line. So, yeah, it's something that I find personally really interesting. Twitch has grown drastically in the last year, right? For the better, obviously, and I think a lot of it has to do with Twitch Prime, but then also the explosion of Fortnite and stuff like that. You've been seeing a lot more people and a lot more normies kind of coming to Twitch. We talked about this extensively on this podcast and stuff like that, but one of the biggest examples or most common examples that I give is usually when I tell people I personally stream on Twitch or that I watch Twitch, they go, well, what's Twitch? And I go, oh, it's like YouTube, but live stream, because everyone knows what YouTube is, right? That has become less and less of the case now, where if for some reason I'm talking to someone about Twitch or it comes up in a conversation, they go, oh yeah, I watch Twitch. I watch it casually here and there. So it's definitely become like a way bigger thing and like a bigger deal in the last like year or so. And Ninja in a lot of the sense reminds me of early Smosh, where it was just these two guys who started to build this brand, right? And we're selling merchandise like in Hot Topic, creating like mobile app games, selling toys and branding around the Smosh brand itself, while rotating in and out a certain cast, right? That transcended kind of just YouTube and went into more of a normie, whatever you want to call it, type of audience. Ninja and other streamers are doing the same thing, but it's different because it's live streaming. So we don't know where we will be in 10 to 15 years, if Ninja will still be a household name or if he will just be, retired and moved on from there. We don't know what the future of streamers are being, like what it's going to be. But it is interesting that this toy deal comes out. And I think that, this kind of sets the precedent of that, like even them just wanting to create these toys, regardless of how well they are received, is very interesting. That the toy industry and gaming industry in general is making such a specific toy for such a specific audience. It'd be really, really interesting to see how this plays out, really. Last article of the day: YouTube redesigns its strike system to spare first-time offenders. The tagline is, "It's clear and more consistent." I really doubt that. But yeah, this is just a very quick article, kind of something that I saw this morning. But it says YouTube has faced criticism for its strike system over the years, and not without merit. You wouldn't always know what you've done wrong, and the punishment could vary from a slap on the wrist to crippling blow. As of February 25th, if it's implementing a new strike system that promises both greater clarity on offenses and a gentler approach to penalties. The new system doles out the same penalties regardless of the offense, but also starts out relatively gentle. At first time, viewers receive a warning rather than a strike. YouTube will pull the content in question, but creators won't lose privileges. If they persist, the first strike will lead to a 1-week freeze on uploads and other channel activities, and the strike disappearing in 90 days. A second strike during that 90-day window will lead to a 2-week freeze, while a third strike will lead to the YouTube's termination. Whatever the offense, YouTube is bound to clear notifications, including new mobile and non-product alerts to outline blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. It says that this won't please people concerned YouTube allows some clearly false content in the first place when determining who runs for policy. However, it could reduce complaints and stuff. So, overall, I think that this is good. My channel has been striked before, and because of that, it has had some things that, like, it's been striked with, like, copyright stuff and all this stuff. So, for me personally, you know, I like this, right? But I'm not an avid uploader of YouTube. I'm not really sure how the YouTube scene has been taking it, but it does seem a little bit more gentler. Mostly, the only thing that's really changed, to be honest, is that if it's your first time getting striked, instead of you immediately getting that strike and getting a 1-week freeze on uploads, you are given a warning, basically, and saying, hey, just let you know you've done this or that, right? YouTube has grown so much that it sucks that it's controlled by bots, basically, and it has to use this like AI algorithm. But at the same time, there's no way to police YouTube with the amount of videos being uploaded every single day, every single second, and having actual human interaction to look at all those type of like tickets that are coming in. Hopefully this is great for YouTube. Hopefully this helps out with the striking system, but they really need to get the algorithm system really jammed packed as well, which sucks because there really is no competition for YouTube, right? We see this healthy amount of competition in streaming, right? Yes, Twitch is the king, but there's also YouTube gaming. There's also Mixer. There's also Caffeine. There's also, you know, XYZ. There's a lot of people that are in the pot, right? But we do not see that with YouTube, right? If I was a YouTube content creator and all my content was on YouTube and I wanted to keep making, I didn't want to stream. Maybe I wanted to make consistent, you know, videos to upload or whatever. Where do I go? Vimeo? I guess, right? There's no real big, you know, on-demand video platform like, you know, you can upload yourself, right? And because of that, YouTube kind of being the biggest and clearly the winner for years now, it's very hard to go anywhere else. So they have the control. You know, if you're a YouTube partner, if this is your full-time job and you quit, it's like, I'm going to another platform. Okay, where, right? So it will be interesting. I hope that some type of competition arises for YouTube. It would be very, 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 very hard at this point. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm saying that knowing that it's probably never going to happen. But, you know, it does suck when these situations do arise. Does YouTube need to keep its partners happy? Of course. But do they really need to? Technically not really, right? There's nowhere else for content creators to go to. But that's why you see a lot of content creators at the same time shifting to Twitch. You're seeing them streaming more on Twitch, less uploading content on their YouTube because of reasons like this. So I think that this is a good first step in the right direction. I'm not really in the YouTube ecosystem as much anymore. So I will say I'm not an expert on this subject at all. But yeah, I hope that this kind of helps in a way and YouTube continues to at least stop messing up over there because it seems like they're messing up a lot. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for hanging out today. That is going to be the last article of this episode. My name's Ryan. You can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Ryan Kubo, RyanKubo, all lowercase, all one word. You can also check out VODs of this podcast as well as any of the other podcasts we do on this channel at youtube.com/Shigeos Twitch TV. That's SHIGEOS TWITCH TV. And then also, as always, you can listen to us on the go, on audio format, on Spotify and iTunes. Those links are going to be down in the episode description / your show notes as well that are in the episode description as well. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out this Tuesday morning. I'll catch you guys Thursday morning for the next episode of Morning Coffee. Have a great week and take care.